I'm just totally cold turkey winging this episode. Hello, good morning. Welcome back everyone to another episode of More Mary. I am your host, Miss Mary Lou, and welcome back to the channel, my T-Tom family. And speaking of T-Tom family, we hit 700 subscribers this week. I'm beside myself. Whoa! For everyone who's new here, welcome. For those of you OGs who have been here since early on, I'm really glad that you're still here. It's pretty great. So much love from this family. In last week's episode where I talked about my voice acting journey thus far, I threw out at the beginning of the video if any of you wanted me to do a video about mental health, and one of you did say yes, please. So I'm taking the slightly daunting task of talking about this today. And before we go any further with today's video, if you are not subscribed to the Miss Mary Lou channel already, you are seriously missing out. Please hit the red subscribe button below and the little notification bell so you know when I upload. I'm so sexy. That's not how the words go. Cute. So a few disclaimers on this video. Obviously, I am not a doctor or a medical professional. I am only speaking from my personal experience with mental illness. I am going to put some resources and links in the description box below in case you or a loved one needs help. So now that I've said that, let's go ahead and let's do the thing. Me personally, I think it's better to start this off by just clearing the air and talking about my experience. I have had depression, anxiety, and panic attack disorder from a super young age. My depression is cyclical. My depression has taken me to some very dark places that have felt very alone. And my anxiety disorder began when I was a baby in school, and it was directly influenced at first by test taking. We had these things in 3rd grade called Mad Minutes. So there were 100 questions on a sheet of paper, and we had a minute to get as many done as possible. That's when my panic attack disorder genes came out. I would look at the page and freeze, and poor Mary would start sweating, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna die. Is this a part of a mad minute? Because I feel like I'm going mad. And that continued through all of my schooling. I pushed through it, and I would tell adults in my life, like, they would say, hey, Mary, you're such a good test taker, because I would get really good grades. I just would argue back, no, I'm not a good test taker, because I didn't know what that meant. And it wasn't until I was psychoanalyzed for a scholarship through a physical disability for college, that was a lot of things in one sentence, that they were like, oh, you have severe anxiety, panic attack disorders that are directly related through testing. And I was like, yes. Yes, I do. So I finally, in that way, got the help that I needed. And when I got to college, I was able to take my tests in a little cubicle in the library. And I had double test time, and just being in that kind of environment, college tests were easy. It was like the weight that was lifted was incredible. So that's kind of a brief overview of me. And there are little bits of that story that are points I want to talk about today, which is believe people. Take people seriously. If someone is reaching out to you because they need help, they don't know what to do, they feel alone, take them seriously. And also, on the other side of that, you might not know how to handle the situation. Just keep in mind, there are people who go to school for this for years and years to know how to handle situations with people who are experiencing a mental illness. So if you have maybe someone in your life who feel like they can confide in you, which is super wonderful, but if it's weighing down on you too much, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to help them, it's okay. As us like regular human people, we haven't had a decade of school so that we've earned our doctorate just so we know how to handle the situation. If you think maybe they're lying, maybe they're exaggerating, well, there are also roots in different kinds of mental illnesses that can lead to that sort of behavior. So you should still take them seriously. So there are different routes of seeking medical treatment, different things work for different people. They tried sticking me on antidepressants when I was a teenager and it did not work well for me. But there are some people who I know who have been on antidepressants and have tried different ones until they found the right one that worked for them. One of my favorite prominent figures that talks about like the power of finding the right medication for you is Wil Wheaton. Yes, Wil Wheaton has struggled from mental illness for so much of his life. I don't want to put words in his mouth exactly. There are lots of videos here on YouTube of him talking about his struggle and then finally getting medicated for it. He has been just a phenomenal human advocate in the community. Go Wil Wheaton. Whoa, I am spilling this tea everywhere today. I think I'm just nervous to do this video, but it's good to do things you're afraid of. If someone does approach you, or if you are the one that is feeling anything, if you're just like in a funk you can't get out of, you're having feelings of you wishing something bad would happen to you because you couldn't do it to yourself, or just freak out and feel like you're gonna die. All of these things, they're not uncommon, but they're not normal, and it is worth seeking help. So other than medication, there is also the therapy route. Now for me personally, this one is the winner for me. This is what has worked for me the most in the past. But just like a medication, not all psychiatrists, therapists, social workers are gonna be the right fit for you. I had the most wonderful social worker back in New York before I moved. She saved me in a lot of different ways and was a wonderful human. One thing she said to me that has stuck with me is, you have succeeded. You've dealt with so much in your life. You're here, so you have already succeeded. So if you're here watching this video, you have succeeded. You're here on this earth and you are living life every day. That's pretty freaking awesome. You are not alone. There are certain mental illnesses that can really make you feel isolated and awful, but you are not alone. Maybe the person who can relate to you is your doctor by going and then prescribing you a medication, or maybe a person who can relate to you is a social worker or a psychologist who can talk to you about things and help make a game plan to restructure your life and your brain thinking so that you can overcome this and move forward. There are certain practices that I continue to do that different people in my life have kind of given to me. I talked about this one a little bit on my episode where I talked about stress. Meditating. Meditating is freaking magical, and it literally rewires the way that your brain thinks. It's science. Garbage truck, also science involved in garbage trucks. I'm gonna put my favorite meditation app below. Also, taking a life perspective from a point of gratitude. I've also talked about this on the show before. Even if it's just starting with a simple exercise every day of 3 things you're thankful for. I like to put the caveat that only one of them can be food, because otherwise it's just gonna be like, I'm thankful for avocados, toast, and that really delicious chili oil that people put on top of it at restaurants. So yeah, just 3 things that you're grateful for every day, and then that can grow into like, oh, I'm putting on my shoes, like, I'm so happy I have shoes. I'm so lucky. I'm so thankful that I have shoes to put on my feet. Or you open the refrigerator and like, I have food. Taking little steps to change your perspective. And obviously don't take my word for it, just try it. Try some of these for yourself. Do you meditate regularly? Have you tried different gratitude exercises? Have they worked for you? Please let me know in the comments below. So that's all the time I have for today. I could talk about this for quite a while. I'm sure I already have. Be brave, seek help. You are not alone. You have already succeeded. Thank you so much for watching. And last and most importantly of all, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you on Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching this episode of More Mary. If y'all want to hang out and have tea parties on the internet every day of the week, and not just here on YouTube, on Sundays and Tuesdays, all of my social media links are in the description box below. And thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I know it's not easy, but you've already succeeded. Be brave!